Hello everyone, welcome to the Geoecologist. I am Dr. Krishnanand and you have been watching my videos on climatology and other geography topics on my channel. So if you're new to this channel, do subscribe to our channel and also share the videos with others as well. So in this session on climatology, we are going to learn about one of the most important topics in climatology, that is the Köppen's climatic classification. So before we go ahead, do subscribe to our channel and remember to share the videos with others as well. So now let's learn about Köppen's climate classification system, one of the most important climatic classification that we learn in the syllabus for UPSC exams and also for university exams. So who was this Köppen? He is called Dr. Vladimir Köppen and from Austria, that is important to remember, and he devised a climatic classification system as back as 1918, so almost 102 years old classification system, and it is one of the most famous classification system and pioneer in the field of climatology. So it was based on average annual air temperature and total annual precipitation data. Now remember, two important things are here. One is the temperature and one is the precipitation, but it is annual average. This is important to remember, that mean annual average that we say, that mean data was taken. That is average of the annual precipitation and temperature of all around the world to classify the entire world into different zones. So that is important to remember. Then it was most widely used and recognized climatic classification system in geography for decades, and still it is part of many university system syllabus as well, as we know. So most revised climatic classification system are based on Dr. Köppen's initial system only. So as old as 1918, and later on many people, many climatologists and scientists came and they revised this system again and again according to their own criteria that they set, right? So that was one of the most modified system, that is Köppen's classification system. So Dr. Köppen was a climatologist and also a botanist, plant geographer, that is important to understand, and he was looking for one important thing in his classification system, that is basically the boundaries between major vegetation groups that seem to correspond the climatic boundaries. Now remember, because he was a plant geographer, his zonations were important in terms of the vegetation groups and their divisions, their boundaries, their segregation that we say, right? So it was important, and each climate was identified and defined according to total annual precipitation and average annual temperature values. So remember, annual precipitation values and annual temperature values were the important benchmark or the base criteria for division of different climatic systems all around the world. Apart from that, one interesting thing is that a shorthand version was produced using letters to designate 5 broad climatic groups initially, and later on it was further added with one more group. So total we see that 6 major groups, and further it were divided into subgroups distinguished by seasonal characteristics of temperature and precipitation. So this was a codified system, and initially it was like a shorthand version. So let's elaborate furthermore and understand this climatic classification in a simplistic manner. So when we say 5 major groups per one special group, what is this? Look at this. This is all alphabetical, and it is, remember, it is capital alphabet when we say in shorthand style. So what is this? First 5 groups were the capital A, B, C, D, E, and then later on H was added. So these are from A, B, C, D, E, H. These are the important 6 groups or the major groups of climate that were the main aspect of this climatic classification, which was all around the world accepted. So that was important to remember, that A, B, C, D, E, and what you see here is this F is missing. So now you have to remember that it is A, B, C, D, E, and later on H came for the highland factor. That's why it's not in sequence, it's just according to the need base. So remember, H represented highland. So now if you look into this particular table, this is from the NCERT if you have read it. A is for tropical belt. So remember, where is the tropics? From 23.5 north to 23.5 south of the equator. This is the tropical major belt of the world, right? Where what is the major characteristic? The average temperature of the coldest month is 18 degrees C or higher. So that is important point to remember in A. So capital A is for tropics. Then for B, it is for dry climate. That is where potential evaporation exceeds the precipitation. It basically means where evaporation is more and precipitation is less. So that is the dry part, right? No surplus water, no perennial streams are found. Then what we have is the C. So C is for mild humid climate. Remember, it is important here that in this mild humid climate, summer and winter seasons with temperatures in coldest month, that is smaller than 18 degrees C and greater than -3 degrees C. So it ranges from -3 to 18 somewhere. That is important to remember, and that is where it is located in mid-latitude zone. So that is where C is for mid-latitude, that we need to remember. Then what is the number D? And D is for snowy forest climate, right? So what is this cold snow forest climate? If you see, the average temperature of the coldest month is -3 degrees C. So that is important to remember, that the average temperature is about -3 degrees C and it is cold snow area, right? Then what we have is the cold climate, which is the polar climates, that is group E, right? So average temperature of the warmest month is even lesser than 10 degrees C. That is important, right? So that is one criteria. So everywhere in all this A, B, C, D, E, what you see is that if you look at this particular image of the globe, right, and if you travel towards north or south, you see gradually moving from tropics to subtropics to the temperate belt mid-latitude to the polar belt. What you see is the sequence of this climatic major type that has been created. So it is representation of when we are moving from equator towards pole, right? And apart from that, what you see is this sixth part, that is the H part. It is for a particular thing, that it is a highland or cold due to elevation areas. Remember, there are cold areas also within these belts which is not polar. So why is it that? Because of the elevation factors. For example, mountain areas like Himalayan region or Alps, they are of elevation. That's why they have a cold climate. So that was identified by this highland, that is H factor, right? So that is important to remember. So these are the 6 major groups, in which 5 major groups according to the latitudinal heat balance that we have studied in the previous lectures in climatology. So that was the major part where you see all the temperatures have been clarified, clearly stated. So remember, one criteria was the temperature and the other was the precipitation as an annual basis. So let's learn about this particular classification in subgroups further more. So when you go to the subgroups part, what you find is that second letters referring to the precipitation. Remember, the first letters were the major bold characters A, B, C, D, E and H. So these were all capital letters. Now the subgroups were actually the small letters that you see is F, W, S, M. So these are all small letters, and that is important to remember here. So F is for the moist, and which is year-round moisture where you have no dry season. That is where you have fully. So you say fully moist. So that is where F is important. Then for W, you have the dry season in winter. So this W of winter and W here you can remember. So this is important thing to remember actually. To memorize, you can put it like that, which is fully moist is F, which is winter dry is W, which is summer dry is S, and then what we have is the rainforest climate. So it is monsoon type where M is the M factor here, right? So this is how you can remember easily. So F is fully moist, W is the winter dry, S is the summer dry, and M is the monsoon type. So you can decode it and you can remember accordingly. And then third subgroup was again these small letters, smaller alphabets further, which is A, B, C, D, H, K. So remember, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, you have 6 subgroups at the third stage where you have all the smaller letters. So from A, B, C, D, it is fine. But here it is H and K. So how is it denoted? Small a is for hot summer. Then B is for warm summer. C is for cool short summer. So you have these 3 summers here. Then what we have is the winters. So what you have, D is very cold. Then H is dry hot. That is related to the B. That is, remember, the drier part. Then K is for dry cold. So this is how this has been classified. And the tough part of this classification is to actually remember the coding. So what you have to do is draw these kind of mnemonics for yourself, these meanings where you can remember it for long time. So when you have a classification given along with the major groups and minor groups, that is subgroups, now you can identify the characteristics. So how you can identify the characteristics? Let's look into it. So if you observe here, what is there? First is your major group type. Then you have the type, which is denoted by its name. And then you have a letter code system, and then the characteristics. So this is important to remember here. So the first one, as we know, is the A part, which is, again, remember, it is coming from tropical area. So tropical humid climate has these three major types, right? So what are the types? These three are tropical, where one is wet, other is monsoon, and another is wet and dry, right? So three types of the tropical, and letter code for them is A is common everywhere, but what is uncommon is this F, M and W. So remember, F was for no dry season, fully moist. Remember, F for fully moist, M for the monsoon type, and W for winter dry. Remember, W for winter. So this is how you can remember, right? So if you again look at this, it is AF, AM, AW. That is the first type, that is division, and you can identify the characteristics on the basis of this coding. That is why it is called shorthand type. So AF is where you have F, which is fully moist, so no dry season, where A is the tropics, so in tropical conditions. So that is where you have completely tropical wet climate, right? AM is for monsoon, and where you have wet and dry season, that's where AW is there, where you have winter but dry, right? Then what you have is the complete dry condition situation, that is for B, and under B you have four types. What are the four types? Subtropical steppe, subtropical desert, mid-latitude steppe, and mid-latitude desert. So one is subtropics, the other is mid-latitude. So remember, now we are going one zone ahead of the tropics. That is where subtropical and mid-latitude situation is there. So what you have is this capital B is common, right? And then what you have with this is the S, then small h, W, then small h, S, then K, and W, then K. So what are these letters all about? Remember, you have two H and you have two K. And if you observe, what is the situation? It's low latitude semi-arid or dry, right? That was the H part, and S is for that semi-arid. Then what is here is low latitude arid or dry. So that is again WH. Then what you have is SK. So mid-latitude semi-arid or dry, and then mid-latitude arid or dry. So remember, largely if you observe is again the low latitude or mid-latitude. So low latitude, mid latitude, two parts. One is semi-arid, the other is arid. Semi-arid or dry, arid or dry. Again in the mid latitude as well, semi-arid or dry, and mid latitude again, arid or dry. So this is simple way if you can remember that when it is dry, it will be either in subtropics or mid latitude, it will be either semi-arid or dry. That is the two classification part. Then we come to the C part. Remember, C is for warm temperate mid latitude climate. And it has again three parts if you observe: humid, subtropical, Mediterranean, and marine west coast. So C is common here, right? And then what is the subgroup here added? Look at this. It's F, A, S, F, B. So what is there? Again, F is there. It basically means no dry season. So it is wet again because fully wet, right? And small a is for warm summer. Then small s, it is dry, hot summer. Then FB, so it's not Facebook, it's FB, so CFB is for no dry season and warm and cool summer, right? So this is how it has been coded, and people find difficulty in the coding, but if you carefully observe, it is very simple. What you have to do is that major groups are easy to remember. Just try and practice these smaller subgroups, that what is this small f, what is small a, what is small w. If you can remember that, you can automatically make these characteristics yourself. So you can stop the video and you can note it down, or you can Google it as well. This table is from NCERT. It's available. So what you can do is you can practice it once or twice and then gradually you start remembering it. So it's not that difficult, right? So it's older classification. That's why this coding system was the prevalent time. Later on, when we study the Thornwett and Trevartha's classification, you'll find there have been several modifications and several differences from this particular classification. Now again come to the D. So D is for cold snow forest climate, humid continental or subarctic. So if you have D is common, and then you have small f and small w. F is, remember, fully moist, so no dry season, and W is for winter dry. So if you can remember this F, W, at least FMWS, small. If you can remember, then also you will have lots to actually achieve in your examination when you are writing your answer. Then for E, it is the cold climate, as we know. So tundra and polar ice cap region. So E is common, right? And then you have this T where is no true summer, and F where you have perennial ice, right? And then H is for highland, where you have only one criteria, that is highland with snow cover. So that is simple to remember. So this is the entire classification table. You just need to do one thing: decodify the codes. First one is the major group, that is capital letters. It's very easy to remember. So you have A, B, C, D, E and H, right? And then you have these minor groups, that is important with later coding. So what you can do is try and practice writing it once or twice, and then you'll start remembering these smaller subgroups, that small f, w, t, f, small a, small s, all these things that are there. So just try and decode it, and then you don't need to actually remember it for a long time. You just remember the codes and their meanings, and you can actually write the interpretation or the characteristics yourself. And remember not to forget that it is to be plotted on a globe or a world map if possible when you are writing a longer answer in your examination. So you can find several world maps where this kind of classification has been given. You can draw a world map for yourself and identify at least some major areas of the world where you have a dominant classification available. So you can Google a particular image. This image is not of very high quality, as I see, so it's not very clearly visible, but any such world map is essential to actually draw this Köppen's climatic classification, at least for the major groups that is important in all the continents that you need to cover. So that is important to remember as a point to work out for yourself. And also, if you can remember this particular map, that is South Asia map for Köppen classification, this is also essential in terms of India and its neighboring countries. So what you see these groups here written, and you can pause the video and you can see, match it for yourself, that which is the dominant characteristics in India and which particular belt. So humid subtropical climate is the dominant in India if you observe. Northwestern part of India, if you observe, is warm desert climatic conditions. So it's capital B, capital W and H, right? So similarly, you have capital CWA. So in India, many times this can be asked on mapping question when you are writing your mains. So that is important for UPSC examination. Many times this kind of classification based question can be asked. Or even in preliminary examinations, a map can be given and this types can be given as a code and you have to decipher or match it. So that is also to be practiced. That is important. And at last, it's important to remember what are its qualities and what are its issues, or means pros and cons of this classification. So pros of this classification is that it is quantitative, it is easier to understand and measure, because remember it is temperature and precipitation based, which is annual level measurement, and also the mean annual, remember average, so that is important. It coincides with the vegetation pattern of the world, so you can remember that as well. And it gave importance to effective precipitation and also evaporation and transpiration together, that is called evapotranspiration. So these are the three important pros, positive points. And few cons of the climatic classification of Köppen are that it is difficult to memorize, because not everybody can memorize this shorthand style. So you have to decodify, you have to practice it, you have to practice on the world map to actually remember it, right? It is alphabet based. So you have to remember those codes, that is important. And it has too much emphasis on average values. Now this is one important point which is a demerit. Why? Because it ignores average value, always ignores extremities. It doesn't give you the exact value. Average actually undermines the diversity, remember that. And climate is a diverse phenomenon. So if you're doing a climatic classification, average values will undermine the world diversity of climate. It will give you only average values. It will not give you distribution in actual sense. So that is a problem. And it ignored the precipitation intensity, cloud cover, daily temperature variations. All these other parameters were ignored, and also the role of air masses. Now remember, the air masses are distinctive characteristics of a particular place, source regions. So that also has a role to play in climatic classification of the world, but it was ignored in this particular classification all the way back in 1918, and it was not a genetic classification. The origination was not discussed of a particular climate. So genesis was absent in this particular climatic classification. So I hope you understood how to actually write an answer for Köppen climatic classification and how to simplify and remember it through this decodification and the memory games on maps of this particular classification of climate. So now, when we have discussed about Köppen's climatic classification, in the sessions to come, we'll be learning more on climatic classification by Thornwitt and several others. So stay tuned, stay safe, all the best wishes.